Bleep little doodle doodle.
Bleep little doodle doodle.
I ain't never seen a little doodle.
I ain't never seen me a blue beetle. I just seen me lots of beetles, but not a blue one.
A lot of termites and crawdads.
But them beetles, they ain't good eating.
No.
Them crawdads, though, little lobsters is what they is.
Dip 'em in some barbecue sauce and some sweet tea.
You gotta crack them open. I like anything I get to crack open.
My favorite like grunt is the hungry discomfort. Like, let me just work out this fart, and I'll be ready for another bite.
I like the grunt that's like after the after meal grunt. It's always preceded by like a long inhale and then a very sharp. It's like. I believe I went up a couple pant sizes there.
Indistinguishable from pooping.
Well, family, the Cracker Barrel done me in again.
Oh, you have to excuse me. I must retire to the lavatory.
Went to the Golden Corral. Got me one of them buffets.
I thought that was like your toilet euphemism.
Oh,
the
Golden Corral.
I've got to go to the Golden Corral.
Got to go to the Golden Corral. I mean, I think that's a fair assessment of Golden Corral's quality of food as well.
Is it bad? I've heard it was bad.
I mean, I haven't been in 20 years, but sure. Hot take. We used to have one in our area that was not Golden Corral, but it was called Ryan's. I don't know if this was like a just here thing or if that was around more than just here, but it was called Ryan's. And I remember it being way better than Golden Corral, but again, I was 10. I have no frame of reference for this. Because at 10, all I was doing was like, I'm eating bread.
Chicken fingers, yeah.
Yeah, right, exactly. And then, but I remember the coolest thing at any of the buffets was like, they've got ice cream. You can go up there and get yourself an ice cream and you pour it yourself.
I lost you.
Oh.
Okay, hold on.
Am I back?
I hear you now. Yeah.
Okay.
You're just about to tell me, and then it paused. I was like, what? I was like, Rex, it's a what? What is it?
It's a what? It may do that a little bit because we got that storm coming through.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah, you could go up and get your own ice cream from their little like thing. You like pull the nozzle and put it in your cup or your cone or whatever. And I'd go up there all the time. So much my parents would be like, you can't just have ice cream.
Dustin, please. Please eat some real food.
Well, why did they put it there? It says all you can eat over the door and there's ice cream.
Guys, I can read. I'm not stupid. Come on. Come on now.
It doesn't say all you can eat veggies. It just says all you can eat. I'm eating ice cream. That's included.
Don't y'all try and gaslight me. I know what the sign says. The sign says all you can eat ice cream. Okay.
We're at this fine establishment for dining called Ryan's.
There's a place, Jason's Deli around here. I don't even know if it's a chain or not, but
yeah, we've got them.
Okay, cool. I don't know anymore.
Yeah, right.
There's this place, McDonald's. You guys know McDonald's?
Y'all have a McDonald's?
A McDonald's?
Did y'all know we got royalty over here? We got a king of burgers.
I went over to the new McDonald's. Anyway, this place, Jason's Deli, it's like you get food and it's good food. And I used to eat there back before like we had kids and could afford to eat other places. And sure. We'd go to Jason's Deli and you order food and stuff, and then it's just like bottomless ice cream.
Yeah. Yep.
And it's like, whoa, that's like your whole menu is like avocado salads and like really nice sandwiches. And it's like, hey, I know you're making a sensible choice, but how about you take some of that ice cream there, dog?
But we have ice cream.
We got all this ice cream, no charge.
We got all this ice cream. We don't even know what to do with all this ice cream.
You're going to feel so bad about yourself tomorrow. You'll come back here for another wholesome meal to make it all better again. Yes. And then you'll get to the end of the line and there'll be the ice cream.
Come on down to Jason's Deli. All we got's the ice cream.
Make you feel real bad, but first we make you feel real good.
Come on down. We're renaming ourselves to Jason's Dairy.
There's a place around here called Meat Boss. You got one of those, Dustin? Is that a chain too, huh?
No, but that sounds great.
You'd love this place. So Meat Boss is like they just smoke their meat like on site, and it's just you can even buy meat from them like just as a store. Anyway, Meat Boss is great. And so for a while there, we were going there for breakfast every Saturday because they had these really great wraps. It was like, they have like a whole big menu of meat. So it's like, all the meats. And then, so I would get this breakfast wrap that was like eggs, like scrambled eggs, brisket, home fries, which is just like, thick fries shoved in there into the wrapping. And then like, I'd get this white sauce on the side, like their signature white sauce or whatever. And it was only like $5 and it was like a thick ass burrito. And so I would just like slice that thing in half in the middle and like look at the inside like, oh, is it all here? Like just look at it. It's all nice and neat. When you slice it,
get a nice cross section.
It looks all nice. Looks TV ready.
There you go.
And then we did that for a while, but then Meat Boss like started doing a really terrible job sorry to shit talk Meat Boss on the podcast, but Meat Boss is great. But at the time we stopped going to them finally, like after like several months of like going there on Saturday and then the wait just being forever. Like I sat outside there one time for like an hour. Like I called at 8 o'clock as soon as they open. I'm like, hey, and then you go in there and they're like, well, we're still filling the overnight orders. And it's like, I was like, fuck those people. Like, I just want a burrito. Like these are people who want like big platters for like parties and stuff. And it's like, do you have to make that first thing? Like, don't y'all triage your, anyway, Meat Boss is going to email the Hoopercast and excuse me, what do you know about running a store? But
you don't know anything.
Anyway, I was like, well, I don't know, but I know that like there's 24 people in the line here, and some of them are like first responders who like eat for free and stuff, and it's like, we're all waiting for like our very basic breakfasts, and you're like, we're trying to make like a platter of 230 pork butts or something, and it's like, cool. Feels like should do this opposite anyway.
Right.
I think things have changed. I don't see a gigantic line there anymore on the weekends. So maybe they got their shit together. And anyway,
sure.
But man, it was so good. I was so sad. I was like, that's why we tolerated it for so long. We were like, well, it's really good food. And after a while, I was like, hey, it's like 10 a.m. Like I've just been sitting in a car idling, and my wife's been home
burning gas.
Yeah, and it was like, you know what? We got to stop, and that sucks because this is good food.
There's this, it reminds me a little bit of this place. I don't even know what they're called. It's like a barbecue house, but they also do breakfast in the mornings, and their breakfast operates under a different name. And I don't know what the name of that breakfast place is, but anyway, it's really, really freaking good. And you order like a, bacon, egg, and cheese biscuit, and it's going to be the best biscuit anywhere around, like with the most bacon, and so much bacon that you almost have to say like, this is too much bacon. But, but at the same time, you're like, oh, but it's so good though.
I'll just put some in my pocket when I leave, and I'll save it for later.
And then there's like so much egg and cheese on there. You're like, oh, this is fantastic.
There's sometimes I'll order food like that, and I'll just take one look at it, and it's like, I'm just going to get a fork.
Yeah, right. You just look at it and go,
it's going to fall apart.
I give up. I don't want to know how many calories this is, but it's a lot.
There's some of these places, like there's these giant cookie stores around here, like, I don't remember the names of them, but like these like boutique, like specialty just places. All they do is they just make like excellent cookies, and like terrible come home from work with them sometimes because they'll like drop baskets off and be like, here you go, courtesy of blah, 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 whatever. So she'll come on these giant cookies, and it's like, don't eat them all at once. Don't eat this all at once though, because it's like 1,000 calories, this one fucking cookie. Yeah. And it's like, YOLO, and I just eat the whole thing. That's so good.
Yeah, I bet.
It's like, why would I eat half of this at breakfast and half of it at lunch or at dinner? I'm just gonna eat the entire thing like right before bed. Yeah.
And then
watch some TV.
And then cry for 4 hours.
Yeah. And then kind of just fall asleep because all the blood went to my tummy, my tum-tums.
Yeah. Put me right to sleep.
Yeah. I had, what did I have for dinner tonight? Speaking of meat, I had pork. I had pork sliders.
Oh, nice.
Some delicious salad.
Nice. We had leftover tacos.
Well, this is technically leftover pork. We had it last night too, but.
Gotcha.
Yeah, I finally figured out like I need to put the work in on the front end, and before I like put that thing in the crock pot, I have to like slice it up and cut all the fat out because there's just too much of it. You're eating like a sandwich and you take a bite and it's like there's no meat in this bite. It's just bread and fat.
Yep.
And it's just so unappetizing. So it takes me like it's like a 15-pound butt.
Yeah.
And it takes me
That's the title of this episode, by the
way. It takes me like an hour to like slice that thing up. It's just like these vast sections of fat, and you're just like, God, and you're trying not to like cut your fingers off, but you're like, I gotta move this along. Yeah. One morning I tried to do it like while my kids were still napping or whatever, and then like they woke up and they started like yelling at each other, and I was like, hurry, and I was like sweating trying to like get it done. And like I did screw up and like cut off part of my fingernail or whatever. It's like I was slicing an almond. It was like, and I was it's going to grow back all weird.
Yeah.
Anyway.
Yep.
And then my burgers tasted like fingernail. Where was I going with that? Anyway, the batch turned out better this time because it wasn't so fatty.
Okay, good.
Yeah. In case anyone was holding their breath like, what? How'd it turn out? All right.
I must know.
I think what they must know is probably what they came here to listen to. Although if the title was 15-pound butt, they have no clue why they're here. Why is there a blue suit on the thumbnail? Well,
maybe the title of the episode is Blue Beetle, a 15-pound butt.
A 15-pound butt. All right. Let's give the people what they want. Let's talk about Blue Beetle.
Yeah.
Which you saw.
Yes, I alone saw this film.
Yes. Did you go alone?
I did go alone, and I was almost the only one in the theater. Yeah, I mean, look, dude, the movie I think did better than they thought it was going to do.
Mother Bird.
What's that? Oh, did you lose me?
Yep, there we go.
Did you lose me?
Yeah.
Am I back?
Yeah.
Okay.
I was doing the Toy Story, like, come in, Mother Bird.
Come in, Mother Bird.
The other good one is, sorry, the other good one is sorry, just a quick aside.
Go.
The delivery on that Buzz Lightyear commercial, like, Buzz Lightyear, he's all like, oh, Buzz Lightyear. Come in, Buzz Lightyear. This is Star Command. Star Command.
I don't have any memory of this, but okay. I'll take your word for it. I think this is a Mandela effect. I don't remember this at all. You just Mandela affected everything. This is not true.
There's an alternate cut of Toy Story that's just very sexually delivered.
Yes. Was this the first Toy Story? What are you even talking about?
It's so when Buzz is like, he runs away from Scud in Sid's house, and so he's like hiding, and he hides in like the TV room where like I guess Sid's stepdad or whoever that guy is asleep. Yeah. With his not beer next to the chair. He's watching the TV's on, and there's like he hears Star Command to Buzz Lightyear or whatever, and Buzz like thinks he's being called, and he's like hello, and he's trying to answer his wrist, and then like it's the commercial or whatever, and whoever is doing like the voice of Star Command, it's just he's reading it so weird. It's like Buzz Lightyear to Star Command. Buzz Lightyear, this is Star Command. We're trying to reach Buzz Lightyear, and just the way he delivered it is so like, oh. Hold on.
I have no memory of this. I don't remember it sounding like that. I do remember what you're talking about now, but I do not remember it sounding like that.
All right, I'm gonna settle this right now. I've got the commercial. Okay, here we go.
Calling Buzz Lightyear. Come in, Buzz Lightyear. This is Star Command. Buzz Lightyear, do you read me?
Buzz Lightyear responding.
He just added the like vibrato or whatever.
On the way.
Buzz Lightyear.
That's what I remember.
Okay.
Buzz Lightyear.
All right, maybe I embellished a little bit, but I swear to God.
A little bit. Let me reenact this for you. The movie itself goes, Buzz Lightyear, come in, Buzz Lightyear. And the way you delivered it was, Buzz Lightyear, come in, Buzz Lightyear. There's a very big difference between those two deliveries. It's just a 1950s, like cereal dude, 1930s cereal dude. Buzz Lightyear, come in, Buzz Lightyear.
This says a lot about the way I see the world versus all of my friends. This is patient zero of what's wrong with my perspective in all things.
We're about to get to the bottom of the fact that every movie you watch sounds like that in your brain.
Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. Oh.
It's not about how bad you can hit. It's about how you can get hit and keep moving forward. I'll make him an offer he can't refuse.
I think we're going to single-handedly bring back the Hays Code if we're not careful.
Yeah, we probably need to stop.
The Hays Code's going to return and be like, I'm sorry, but I think we're going to need to censor the movies again. Have you seen this podcast? These hooligans. Okay.
Yep.
Blue Beetle.
Okay. Blue Beetle.
Everything right now feels so out of reach.
You always land on your feet, bro. You're Jaime.
They don't get out much. I just want to rap. Jenny? I just want to rap.
Guard that with your life, but do not open it.
You went in to get us jobs, and all you brought back was a hamburger?
Okay, I don't think it's a burger.
You haven't looked?
What the hell is that?
How did you get it to do that?
I think he likes me.
Get it out! Jaime.
This ain't what you want. This ain't what you want. This ain't what you want. What the?
Host acquired.
Who said that? It's okay. It's gonna be okay. Space.
Re-entry systems ready.
Wait, no. This ain't what you want. This ain't what you want. This ain't what you want. Oh. What is going on? I just want to rock.
It's called the Scarab. It's some kind of world-destroying weapon. It's designed to protect its host.
This ain't what you want.
Sometimes it does what you want, and sometimes it doesn't.
I think I cut a bus in half.
The Scarab chose you, but it belongs to me.
That love you feel for your family makes you weak. I just want to rock. The universe has sent you a gift, and you have to figure out what you're gonna do with it. That's my heart. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5.
Whatever you can imagine, I can create.
Let's party.
So, Blue Beetle is the newest film from DC Comics Studios, Warner Brothers Studios, and this was a film that was originally released or intended to be released on HBO Max, but was shifted to a theatrical release, I believe, after they canceled Batgirl. It's had sort of a long journey to get to the big screen, but one of the main things they're kind of selling this is the first Latin American superhero lead in a film. It's directed by Angel Manuel Soto, and obviously starring a whole host of Latin American actors and actresses, headed up by Xola Maridueña, who you may know from Cobra Kai, and also starring like George Lopez and a bunch of other folks who have graced the screen in one way or another, and then also randomly Susan Sarandon for no reason. And so the film obviously adapts the DC Comics character, the Blue Beetle. For those of you who are uninitiated, which I think probably is most of you, because Blue Beetle's kind of an underknown, is that a thing? Character in the DC, a lesser known character in the DC stable. But Blue Beetle is a young guy named Jaime Reyes, who traditionally is in high school or college, who finds a alien scarab which attaches itself to his back and imbues him with all sorts of alien technology. So it's a little bit like Venom and a little bit like Tony Stark, because it's like this exosuit kind of thing, and a little bit like Spider-Man because he's a young kid in this, big superhero-y world. And yeah, I mean, there's a lot about this film that reminds me of all three of those things: Venom, Spider-Man, and Tony Stark, and even a little bit of like Black Panther in there. And you see all of these influences, and one would hope that these influences would be just influences, and then they would do something new and unique and cool with this, Blue Beetle film. I don't know that they really succeeded at that. There's a lot of it feels a little bit like we're copy pasting some things that have worked before and remixing it into this new package. And that can be fine too. I think it just depends on what your expectations are. If your expectations are, let's have something new and groundbreaking, I think you're going to be sorely disappointed here. If your expectations are, just give me a solid superhero film using traditional superhero elements, well, I think you'll be pleased enough. For me, this didn't quite scratch the itch that I had hoped for. See, I love the Blue Beetle character, and there's actually been multiple Blue Beetles, but the Jaime Reyes character version of the character specifically, I really love. And the comics origin for this character is really kind of epic in scope, and it's super interesting to me. But I think they didn't really capture, to me, what's most interesting about Blue Beetle in this film, and instead kind of latched on to these Tony Starky type elements of things, and kind of tried to retell the first Iron Man movie just in a Blue Beetle package. So beyond just him having this suit that he wears, if it functions as an exosuit, even though it's, I guess, technically organic. Mm-hmm. It feels very much like Tony Stark in that first Iron Man movie. The big bad, of course, is Ironmonger, played by Jeff Bridges, and in this you get this like bigger, badder, bulkier version of a Blue Beetle type suit worn by our main villain, played by Damien Alcazar. Do you remember back at, let's rewind the clock to like the first phase of the MCU, and everybody's complaint about it was like, well, all the villains are just the same, are just the hero's powers. Right. Yeah. Again, it's that same sort of mentality, which I think is probably a little bit unavoidable with this property. And I'll tell you why. Blue Beetle is a little bit also like Green Lantern. Green Lantern is one of many, right? He's like an intergalactic space cop. Blue Beetle's similar in that Jaime Reyes's scarab is an alien scarab that is one of many. It's from an alien planet, right? And there's a lot of these things. And this scarab is sent as a scout for war, potentially to take over Earth. And so the idea is, if it latches to Jaime, there are also other scarabs that can come here and latched onto other humans, and also other scarabs who have already latched onto other aliens and then come here. And so you end up with this epic space battle kind of set here on Earth between all of these creatures that have scarabs. By its almost design, it is going to be hero with a specific power set versus villains with the same power set. Right. But what's weird about it here is you didn't have to do that because they didn't bring that element into it. That's from the comics. Here, the element is just that our main villain, Carapax, Trujillo plays him like this military guy, and he is a military guy, but he's also like an experiment. And this experiment gives him this weird exoskeleton suit thing that is like a Blue Beetle, but it is not a scarab. And so it's weird. It's like you didn't have to do that because by its nature, like you could have just done the other scarabs on somebody else and you could have done the exact same thing. But instead, you did the same thing just with a different package. It's almost like if you had Green Lantern, whose power is this ring, and the Yellow Lanterns, who have their own ring, but their powers are virtually identical. But then if you just like made up another hero or another villain for him to fight, and it's like, he doesn't have a ring, but he has an anklet.
Yeah.
And you're like, oh, well, you could have just done a Yellow Lantern and called it a day. It doesn't make sense to me. So I guess what I'm trying to get at is this. For me, it didn't quite scratch the itch that I've come to associate with the Blue Beetle. But by itself, it is a functional, mostly, solid superhero flick. If by solid you mean just kind of it does superhero things. It doesn't do anything overtly offensive or overtly stupid. But it also doesn't tread new ground, and it doesn't do anything that makes you feel like this has a unique vision to it. And to me, a longtime Blue Beetle kind of fan, it's kind of disappointing because there's so much about this, like the epicness of this that I think you could tap into that they've chosen not to. Like to me, there's almost like a Lord of the Rings-ish element to this, right? It's Jaime Reyes finds a ring, a magical ring that everyone else is after, not like I have to go destroy it. It's I have to live with this and master it, control it. But it's like a kid who gets swept up into this big epic cosmic war. And I know that the writers and directors of this have said we would like to do, investigate more about the scarab in sequels. And I think that that's great. Like, that's a great idea. But at the same time, I'm like, see, you also don't want to, like, I understand the appeal of saving the better for later, but you may only have one shot at this. You know what I mean? So in my mind, like, pull out all the stops at the beginning. And so what I would have done is had Jaime find this scarab and learn all about the scarab and have like this massive journey of Jaime and the scarab bonding with each other and him learning how to control her and master her so that it's not just her controlling his body, but rather him utilizing her skills to his advantage as a hero. And I think that's the better story. That's the story that's presented in the comics. And here, Jaime achieves what they call symbiosis with the scarab, but that's not really presented as a internal conflict, which it is. Again, shades of Venom, right? Like the idea of Eddie Brock and literally the symbiote trying to figure out how they're going to live with one another. This is that same kind of premise, but the idea here is eventually, whereas Eddie Brock can never fully master Venom,
right?
Jaime can fully master Kajida, and that's the that's the whole point. It's a serviceable film. It's fine. I want to give particular shout out to Xolo Maridueña, who does a great job. I mean, he's funny, he's likable, charismatic, and fun. His co-star here, Bruna Marquezine, is fantastic. Like, they've got great chemistry. Their romance feels believable to me in a way that a lot of superhero films don't anymore. And so I would like to see more of that in the future. I think a particular highlight is Jaime's family, again, played by like George Lopez, Damien Alcazar, and a bunch of other folks. And like, they're all great. And, it lends to this world of being like this very traditional familial experience of the Latin American community, and like the way that he's not hiding this from his family. And this is this way in the comics too. They're all a part of it. Like they know Jaime does this, and that's because the thought being like, well, in a Latin family, you wouldn't hide this from your family, and they like you're close enough they would know,
right? And
that's the case here, and that's great. And there's a lot of really good family stuff here, and I do think that that's unique and that's interesting. Because you think about all these other heroes, none of them have families, right?
Right.
Like maybe a person. Like Bruce has Alfred and Spidey has Aunt May, but like that's it.
Yeah.
But like this is like I've got a sister and a mom and a dad and a grandma and an uncle. And how do I be a hero and be their family member and do all of this with them? And so I think that's interesting. By the third act, though, the family kind of comes along on the adventure. I don't love that as much.
Yeah.
I think this is kind of where I land with a lot of like Marvel stuff these days and superhero stuff these days in general, is like we've given so much screen time to the supporting characters because we think like, I don't know if it's that we don't trust one particular character to really be the linchpin of the entire film. But I'm like, if your protagonist isn't strong enough to hold the entire film, then you don't have a movie yet.
Yeah.
Like go back to the drawing board. Your supporting characters are supporting, but we shouldn't be including all of them all the time in all of the story, because we start to lose our protagonist's arc within the story. And to that end, I think Jaime's arc is a little bit muddy in this. It feels a little bit like the theme is family is important. Family is what makes you strong. Okay, well, that's great. But Jaime's arc isn't necessarily something he learns like, I learned to care for my family, because he already did. And it's not like I learned to master the suit, because that's not really presented as the major conflict. So I'm not really sure what Jaime's arc is here, other than just I beat the bad guy. And again, that kind of starts to make it feel a little more like rote than groundbreaking. Because again, we really have to spend time with our main character, get to know them, understand what makes them tick, what are their strengths, what are their weaknesses, not in terms of their superpowers, but in terms of their character, in terms of their morals, in terms of their ethical standards. And this is something we don't really dig into as much with Jaime here. And so, yeah, like again, there's plenty of things to like, but the film does fumble the ball in a few key areas, like character arc, in its humor. There's a couple of moments that are supposed to be really funny that I found a little bit off-putting and not funny at all. Like there's a moment in the third act when they find a giant like mech thing that they can control. And it has a button that's a fart button.
God, come on.
And I'm like, I guess an 8-year-old finds this funny, but
man.
I don't. Because that means somebody installed a fart button.
Yeah. Somebody's supervisor approved it too. Like, yeah, right. We definitely need this. Good thinking, Jones.
Yeah, we need the fart button. And part of the whole like inciting incident of the film. So the film starts with Jaime coming back from college and he needs money. So his sister gets him a job working as like a pool boy / cleaner at Susan Sarandon's mansion. And the whole like inciting incident is that they get fired from there. And the reason they get fired is because his sister really has to take a poop and wants to do it in Susan Sarandon's luxurious bathroom. And I'm like, I guess somebody somewhere thinks this is really funny, but I don't think this is funny. Like this is your inciting incident, bro. Like this has to be really like thematically heavy.
This is like don't say heavy. We're talking about poop.
Well, okay.
This is like first draft, like what happens? I'm not sure, but as a placeholder, let's just say she takes a huge poop in Susan Sarandon's house.
Yes.
That's terrible. No. We're going to change it.
we're going to change it.
This
It's
is
just
just
to get the story going. We just have to get it out. Come on.
And then later they're just like, oh, did we forget to change this? Or did we just decide we're not going to change this?
I like to think that they're literally on set and the actress is like saying the line and the writer looks at the director and goes, we never changed
Crap,
that.
I thought we changed that.
Oh my gosh. What do we do?
Never mind. Some executive from Warner Brothers Discovery steps in and goes, you are not going to change a fucking word. You understand me?
This is gold.
These poops poop money.
We're going to change this to Gold Beetle because this is fantastic.
Brown Beetle.
So yeah, man, I don't know. Like there's a few things like that they're big misfires. But again, like, I don't know, there's a moment about halfway through the film. It's a really heavy, dramatic moment that I think the film really nails. And there's a good action scene around it, which I think the film really nails. And it makes you feel like this is really cool. This is fun to watch. It's really cool. And when that heavy drama stuff starts, you're like, I feel this.
Mm-hmm.
Like I'm feeling the emotion I should be feeling. And that's great.
Yeah.
And that all works. But then you're reminded that Susan Sarandon is our big bad. And you're like, I don't buy that. You know? And so you're like, you could have cast anybody. Like this is a role, like, I'm just trying to think like who would I give this to? But the only name that's coming to mind is like, you give this to like a Jessica Chastain or something who can like really deliver the gravity needed to play a billionaire who's really maniacal and manipulative and racist.
It feels suited to Susan Sarandon in its description. No, seriously. Sorry.
That's the biggest knock on Susan Sarandon she's ever.
We're gonna lose our sponsorships from Meat Boss and Susan Sarandon.
Yes.
No. I seriously meant that. Like, I think that she, like, it doesn't sound like bad casting. It sounds like a role that she is suited for. I'm wondering what the disconnect is.
I think part of it is in the dialogue. The film is more interested in her being bad because she's a rich white woman.
Okay.
And less interested in her being bad because she's morally questionable. And it's not until too late in the film that you realize she is morally questionable. Like throughout the film, she's just kind of like the bad person because the film says she's the bad person.
Got it.
And so you learn it too late. And I think had they given her more of an opportunity to be evil up front,
you're right.
She probably could have knocked it out. And with better dialogue too, that's not on the nose, like, I'm going to send you back to Latin America, you little, whatever it is.
To Latin America.
Yeah, whatever it is. You know, it's like, oh, well, I hope you like the jungle because I'm going to, I don't know what it is.
I'm going to spend my money to send you away from here. It's going to be expensive, but I can afford it.
None of this is actual dialogue, but I'll tell you something that's almost verbatim. She looks at the female lead here and says like, your father left this company in my hands and he left you when you were a child and you don't have any right to do. And it's like, that's a lot of exposition. I think she knows when her father left her. I'm pretty sure she knows that. I'm pretty sure you don't forget
she
that fact.
Broken down in tears like, yeah, bitch, I know. I think about it all the time, actually.
I'm really messed up about it.
God,
Thanks.
you know, you're not just rich and white. You're a bad moral person for saying that to me. As long as we're going to talk right to the audience. Hey, guys,
yes, exactly.
This is the villain.
This is our villain. And then like, so her flunky, Carapax, who again is played by Raul Max Trujillo, is, just bad army guy.
Yay. Colonel Quaritch.
Yeah, he has very little dialogue, very little like things going on that's interesting at all. And again, in the third act, they're like, hey, here's some little backstory on him. And you're like, that would have been great to know up front. This gives the character meaning, and he had none until now, but it's too late.
I love it that you're interesting when we have 20 minutes left in the film.
Yeah, we're in the climax here, so that's does me no good. Thank you. There's some good moments. There's some bad moments. It doesn't live up to the comic or the origin of the comic, which again, I know they said we'd like to get to that in a sequel. That's great, but you didn't get to it here, and this was the opportunity for it because, another little aside, if the whole point of this is him achieving symbiosis with the suit in this film, well, that's great. But now I feel like we lose the idea of like the Reach, which is the Scarab's species, the Reach coming to Earth and being like, hey, Kajira, like, are you going to destroy humans now?
Mm-hmm.
You know, like you kind of lose that because we kind of know that she has Jaime mixed with her and he has her mixed with him. They're symbiotic. So you lose the drama of like, if you'd done that in the first film where he gets the Scarab and he's trying to like, dude, it'd be so cool to be a superhero. And he's trying to be a superhero, but she keeps like taking over and trying to like kill people or do something. And he's fighting that internal battle of like, yeah, this is a bad guy. And she's like, well, kill him. And he's like, no, I can't kill him. And she's like, kill him. He's nothing, you know? And he's like, I can't kill him. And it's a big internal struggle. And then finally the Reach comes and goes like, okay, like you're with us, right? You gotta kill these people. And then the struggle of like, whoa, hold on. I'm about to be assimilated and I'm losing myself to this thing. And I'm going to be the harbinger of death to all of humanity.
Yeah.
That's cool. That's great first movie stuff. And they kind of wasted it here. So anyway, I don't know. Am I excited for more Blue Beetle in the DCU? Because there is going to be more Blue Beetle in DCU. Sure. I mean, I'm excited to see Xolo Maridueña. I think he's great in the role. I think that you need to take this and either put it in the hands of a more capable writer. And I say capable in the way that like somebody who can give us something new and not just the same old superhero stuff we've seen. So give it to somebody a little more capable and let them run with it. And, you know, I've seen a lot of people gripe about the direction. I have no big gripes about the direction. I think it's fine. So keep Angel Soto directing. I'm fine with that. But, yeah, I don't know, man. It's a weird one because it's also strange that this is the first film of James Gunn's DCU when it's a film that he had no involvement in whatsoever. It makes me feel like one of two things. And let me get your opinion on this. Do you think they're saying that to try to get you to the theaters only to later retroactively say, never mind? We'll never bring up this character again? Or do you think that it is true and this character will continue even though the film only made $25 million in its opening weekend, which is better than they thought it would be, but still not great?
I think they will say whatever they need to say to make it work okay retroactively.
Yeah.
Yeah, they sort of just annexed it.
Yeah.
James Gunn and Peter Safran. And maybe that's just because there is, as far as I can tell, at least no connective tissue to existing DCEU stuff, which means like you could in theory. But to me, that's like, you know, Ant-Man being like the last film of a certain phase. It's like, that's just a strange place to start. You'd think the first film would be, you know, Superman Legacy. Yeah. So it's almost like, but I think that I feel like that attempt, if they're saying, you know, this is the first film of the DCU, that's just them saying like, don't expect. I almost feel hopeful that they are saying, expect this character to stick around because we have no reason, like we do with Aquaman and the Flash, to essentially flush this down the toilet. So I see that as, I don't know, there's all kinds of things at play here. Like, oh, we got rid of Batgirl. Everyone's mad. Let's promote this movie to a theatrical release. Hey, it's got a bunch of Latin people in it. That makes us look pretty good. Hey, there's no connective tissue to the old Snyderverse. That's another plus. Has no connection to Superman or any of our other characters either, but shit. I mean, whatever, that's fine. We'll claim it.
There is no connection, but they do mention Superman, Batman, and Flash. They do exist in this world. But they did not specifically mention which versions, and there's no indication given at all.
So then this has to take place, if Superman Legacy is about like a Superman origin story, then this takes place years after Superman Legacy, because like
it would have to.
This guy knows about Superman.
Right, because what they
taken that line out, was it pivotal?
Right. No, it's not. What happens is they end up going to Ted Kord's bunker, and for those not initiated, Ted Kord is the second Blue Beetle, and so Blue Beetle, Ted Kord has gone missing, a little bit like Janet Van Dyne in the Quantum Realm or whatever, but he's missing, and they stumble on his bunker, and someone is like, "Who's Blue Beetle?" And I think it's George Lopez, who's like, he's like, he's an old vigilante that protected our city, like Superman in Metropolis or Batman in Gotham, or I think he says Superman in Metropolis or Flash in Central City, and then later somebody says something about Batman, and then George Lopez says Batman's a fascist. And that was a big trailer line and got a bunch of, controversy when it came out. But so there is a Superman, Batman, and Flash in this world, which again,
it's an unnecessary line. He's a protector of our city. Cool. I understand that concept because it's 2023. I got it.
He's an old vigilante that protected our city.
I'm watching a superhero film. I'm aware of this concept. Thanks, George Lopez.
You don't have to tell me. Like Superman.
Oh, you don't like Superman. Yeah. Oh, cool. It's so much clearer. God.
I didn't know what you meant by protector of our city, but now that you've said Superman, I understand those English words.
Talk to me like I'm stupid, George Lopez.
George Lopez is good in this movie. And again, like, look, dude, there's a lot of stuff in the movie that I do like, and I don't know that I love it, but I like it. And if they made a Blue Beetle 2, especially one that's more cosmic in its reach, so to speak, I think I would be totally on board with that. That's what this film should have been. Mm-hmm. It should have been more cosmic. That's the fun of it. The fun of Peter Parker being bitten by the spider is that he gets to explore his spider powers. The fun of Blue Beetle Jaime Reyes having the scarab attached to his back is that he now gets to travel cosmically.
Yeah.
This 20-year-old gets to be in the stars. That's cool.
Yeah.
And by keeping him completely grounded and just fighting a random army dude with a suit, it doesn't pique my interest the way that saying a 20-year-old flying in the stars does.
Maybe they'll do all this stuff in the sequel. Like, I think that part of why, like, especially a lot of origin movies and maybe in comics as well, like, I think part of the reason, like, why a lot of villains are just a mirror of the superhero, of the hero, is that you spend so much screen time and so much real estate establishing this hero, their world, their family, their close connections. And then, of course, like their introduction to their powers or their abilities or their tech or whatever, that you can't really spend that much more time explaining another villain's different powers.
Yeah. Right.
And so maybe that's what it is. It's just like a time saver. It's like, here's the other guy. He's got the same kind of thing that this guy has, but he's bad. So when he does something, you know how it works, blah, blah, blah. There's a counter argument for that. You could display those. You could have a villain show up without much like delving into what they want or whatever. It could be extremely simple. And then you just sort of see through nonverbal storytelling what their powers are. So when you see something happen, you go, oh, that's the thing that allows them to choke people. Okay. Or whatever. Like you could do it, but it's not bad to me that they just do the same thing, especially like in a story like this, where the thing that's happening to the hero is one of many of a race of aliens. They're scouts. Like, it stands to reason there's more of them. It's
Yeah.
You know, it's not like the Transformers where like you don't want like a zillion robots coming to Earth after a while. It's like, okay, I thought the fucking planet got destroyed, you guys. How many?
Yeah.
There can't be hundreds of us. Like, come on, you know?
Yep.
Or how many Super Saiyans, or, you know, like how many people were off like on business when Vegeta was destroyed? Like there's supposed to be like 5 or 6 Saiyans left in the whole universe.
Yeah.
Come on. So but when it calls for it, I don't think it's a cheat, but I do think that when you do get into sequels, it's like, all right, now we don't have to explain as much about who Jaime is. We can now move on to his next character hurdle, explain a more complicated villain with different powers, and also we'll take him to space because we already did all this stuff on Earth. We don't need to repeat it. It's not a big deal. You know, we'll have like one dinner with George Lopez, give him his paycheck, and then
call it a day.
Bye, we're going into the computer.
Right. Yeah, totally. Yeah, I don't know, man. It's interesting. Also, as an aside, did you say the planet Vegeta?
Yeah.
That's the name of the planet that Goku's from?
Yeah.
Why is Vegeta's named Vegeta after his own planet?
Yeah.
It'd be like if I named my son Earth.
Well, he's named Vegeta after his father, King Vegeta. And that Vegeta
named the planet?
Let me figure out who named them. Well, no, he didn't name the planet.
This planet's named Dustin now.
Planet Vegeta. Let me see here.
Yeah, they're called Saiyans. I thought the planet was called like Saiyan or something.
Saiya. No. It's
well, why are they called Saiyans?
Well, interesting question, Dustin.
That'd be like if we're from Earth, but we're called Grablocks. Just make up a word.
Who's he named after? I
never knew that.
I believe, let me see. Vegeta, I think, is named after his father. Yeah, the eldest son of King Vegeta.
So Vegeta's a prince?
Vegeta's a prince, yeah.
Oh.
King Vegeta was the last king of the Saiyans and the father of Vegeta the Fourth. That's technically.
I didn't even know that Vegeta had been destroyed.
Oh,
so
yeah.
This is literally like Krypton?
Yes. Yeah. The Goku. Yeah. The story of the Saiyans is very similar to Superman, you know.
Okay.
Where, of course, not for the same, you know, Goku was sent to Earth to conquer it. And then Vegeta was later destroyed, I think, by Frieza. I don't think he was sent off as
Vegeta
the planet. Yes. I don't think Goku was sent off as the planet was being destroyed. Like,
okay.
You know, like Kal-El is.
Sure.
Yeah.
Was this explained in the early episodes of Dragon Ball Z? Because we all watched Dragon Ball Z Kai when like senior year in college.
Yeah.
And I don't remember any of this.
No, it was explained. Some of it was, you know, when Nappa and Vegeta are first on Earth.
Okay.
And then some of it was filled in, I think, around the time that like everyone was on Namek because there was Frieza and he was like, oh, that's right. I killed all of you. I remember this. It was so good. I loved it. Do it again.
I don't think we ever finished the Frieza saga when we were watching.
Yeah. Vegeta is technically Vegeta the Fourth. Our Vegeta, Prince Vegeta. He's Vegeta 4.
Okay.
So his father, King Vegeta, is Vegeta the Third. So I guess they're just like the original like monarchs of this planet. And I'm guessing their family was named after the planet. Like
either that or they're raging narcissists.
Yeah, they renamed it like it was called Spleedledip 6.
Yeah.
And they're like, you know what? Vegeta's way cooler.
Vegeta, that's it.
No one's gonna take us seriously. So what are the inhabitants gonna be? King Vegeta? Are we gonna be the vegetarians? And Vegeta's like, who said that? He
no.
just like rips him in half. Who said that? I'm saying that. Saiyan. That's right.
I like that. That's what we are.
He pulls his body apart like the Predator. Everyone, let's eat this guy. Whoa, wait a second.
Hold on.
We're not going to eat him, your sire. And he's like, all right. A little overzealous. A little carried away.
We know what we need to do. We need to do a podcast where you and John and Kellen explain Dragon Ball Z to me. Because I don't know it. I know like the memes that everyone sends to each other, and I can recognize key details from Dragon Ball Z. I know who Goku is. I don't know anything else.
Were you on the text the other day where we like low key like, and actually the culture in general is now judging Goku for being just a fucking idiot. And
really,
yeah, just for being stupid or careless, like, and being a terrible husband to Chi-Chi. He's just like, I'm going to go off and fight this person. And then he dies and he's just like, oh, sorry, I'm dead now. I have to go live in the dead place and have fun raising our kid. Sorry. And then like he comes back to life and he says something like careless about her cooking or something. And she's like mad. She's like, anyway, it's just, she's like a long suffering wife to him because he's just so single-minded. And so, you know, it's their nature to be like warriors in battle and stuff. And so he frequently forgets that he's married and he should probably consider his wife's feelings.
Sure. Yeah.
But like, he'll just gallivant off. It's like, hi. He comes back to Earth and she's like, what's the halo for? It's like, I'm dead. I have to go in like 3 hours. I'll use up all my credits, my visiting time or whatever. She's like, wait, you're dead? You're just dead now? It's like, yeah, sorry.
What planet is Piccolo from? Piccolo?
Namek. He's from Namek.
Oh, yeah. I should have guessed. And Nameks are called Goopchorbs.
No, they're called Namekians.
Well, that makes sense.
That's sensical. I know. I don't know why one end of the universe got named correctly and the other didn't.
It sounds like these Namekians are pretty smart.
They got a good thing going. Of course, now their planet was destroyed as well. So,
well, never mind.
Every time somebody gets the upper hand, someone comes along and destroys their planet.
Dragon Ball Z, everybody.
Yeah.
I mean, Blue Beetle. No, so star rating. I gave this 3.5 out of 5, I believe.
Mm-hmm.
Like it's fine. It's a little better than fine. Like in some parts, I really, like I said, when it gets dramatic, I genuinely cared, and that's cool. But there's some things that turn me off, and you know, there's a bunch of untapped potential there. Which again, you can't really like rate a movie for what it's not, but there is untapped potential there, and what I can rate it on is there is a storyline that's not just from the comics, but is hinted at here that they don't do anything with. That's a failure. So, but yeah, I mean, 3.5 stars, that's fine. And that's about what I would, put like, some of the early MCU films at. So, so totally respectable and, not groundbreaking, but fine. And so, yeah, man, Xolo Maridueña, Angel Manuel Soto, do more. That's cool.
It's made 45 million. No. Wait a second. That was on the weekend. Let me see here.
Yeah, it's made 46 million right now.
I thought it made internationally it's made like
82 million worldwide.
Yeah.
They're saying the budget's probably around 100 mil. And then, you add your marketing costs on top of that. So I mean, it's not like a flop, but it if it doesn't have legs, it's not going to make a whole lot more money. Mm-hmm. So we'll see.
It's already down to, I'm looking at the second weekend. So it's already down to number 3 this past weekend. So Barbie is staying at number 2, and then Gran Turismo came out over the weekend and knocked this out of the number 1 spot, but it did open at number 1.
Yeah.
And that's good. So that's always good. You never want to not do that. So
I think it's, even if it underperforms, which it looks like it will, I do think that that's fine because, again, the last movie that DC put out was the biggest flop in the studio's history.
Yeah.
So like anything compared to that is better. And even like Shazam 2 was not great. It was kind of a flop. So, as long as this isn't a flop and this looks more like it's just going to be underperforming.
Sure.
And I think to them, like they're going to have cake on Friday because, hey, we underperformed. Woo! But yeah, man, I don't know, dude. I want good things for DC because I also want good things for Marvel. Like I want good superhero movies and I want good stories and I love superheroes still. So I'm like, anytime one comes around that's fine. Great.
That's
you
good.
know, like let it be.
And especially when there's not like the mainstream audience does not have high expectations for Blue Beetle. It's not like it's not like it's the third or fourth, film, it's like Thor 4. Like people had expectations for that.
Yeah.
And that's part of why it's pretty universally displeasing to people.
Yeah. Yeah.
I actually heard this thing the other day that like even Chris Hemsworth said like, yeah, like my kids' friends didn't really like it that much. Like someone, whoever I was listening to who said that like sort of was like, normally like stars like aren't really allowed to like say things against the movie, but like someone was talking to him about it. He did some interview and he was just like, yeah, I think I think it made the news. He was like, it was a little too silly,
Yeah.
And apparently that's shocking for someone to admit that because most of the time they just sort of don't. And which is professional, but I also sometimes feel like, do they know? Do they agree that it was too silly, or is this just going to fall on deaf ears? But apparently, like whether they listen to us, not you and I, but like the audience or not, someone knows it. Like someone. These are normal people at the end of the day, hopefully, who just go, all right. I thought maybe it was too silly, but I asked my kid he apparently asked his children what they thought, and they said something like, yeah, like David or whoever, my friend, wasn't really into it, didn't really laugh that much, didn't like it.
Yeah.
He was like, oh, okay.
Yeah. Well, yeah.
The point there being that part of what is going to be good for Marvel going forward is having better competition from DC.
Yeah.
So anytime we've got a respectable movie that has some promise that just needs, time to build up its legs, which I'm willing to give DC that time.
Sure.
But like the better DC does, the better Marvel will do, because they'll go, oh shit, like we
got to try harder.
We need to hurry up, or we're gonna look really stupid.
Yeah. Yep. You're gonna lose the monopoly you've gained
on quality.
Over the last, like decade and a half. Obviously, there's still the nerds out there that are like, I'm a DC guy only. I'm a Marvel guy only, and I'm over here just being like, look, I just want to see good movies. Like I don't care what side of the fence it's on, but my thought is, DC does end up being, it speaks to me more in terms of comics. So by that logic, you would expect that the movies would appeal to me more. And here lately, they've not.
Yeah.
They just haven't. And so anytime like this may not be 100% where this franchise needs to go, but this is a step in the right direction. It's miles better than The Flash. And so, if they continue down this road, that'll be great. Now, next up is Aquaman 2. I don't understand how in the world that fits into anything, and they probably need to just toss it on HBO Max or whatever. Right. I don't know.
Yeah, that's the thing. I don't. That's just what we talked about it, but I mean, like it just. I just don't understand how some of this, you just look at it and go like, all right, well, if you're going to play Aquaman, then why not do Batgirl? Why not play everything? Like, why not let everything that was going to be like, put it somewhere? But if you're going to pull a movie because you're just, I mean, for all kinds of reasons, but like, what kind of insurance write down could you get for Aquaman if you just decided to trash that movie? I don't know. I don't know if they signed something that said that they couldn't shelve it. I don't know.
Right. But there again, if you're like advertising this as the first DCU film, well, then don't have a DCEU film come after it.
I know. Oh, it's so confusing. You're right.
It's so confusing.
Yeah. Boy.
Again, we said this when we reviewed The Flash.
Yeah.
But what they really should have done is you release your Aquaman, you release your Flash, then you release your Blue Beetle if that's your first thing. And let the Flash directly lead into Blue Beetle as this opening up of your new universe. Yep. Although ideally it opens up into your new Superman, but that's neither here nor there.
Right.
I'm not going to sit here and tell James Gunn what to do. He had multi-million-dollar projects that had been bought and paid for that somehow he's under pressure to get money back out of.
Yeah.
I'm not going to sit here and say, here's what you should have done, James.
Yeah, you stupid idiot.
Yeah, you idiot. You need to make...
Here's what you got to do.
Yeah, I don't know. No one's pressuring me for millions of dollars. Yeah. So, I don't understand. But I will say it seems to me that would have been a better option. But again, I don't know.
Yeah, who knows? You never know what was put into hard print that someone signed. Like it could very well be that James Wan, when he initially came on board, was like, he directed Aquaman 2, didn't he? Didn't he come back for it?
Yes.
James Wan could have said like, I'll direct this film under the condition that it's released theatrically and that it is not like canceled or some shit. Like there might be some legal rider somewhere that says like, we can't just not show the film or else James Wan will sue us.
Right.
And never work with us again and tell his friends not to work with us. It's not worth the risk. But and when we made that deal, we had no fucking clue we were going to merge with Discovery and get a new CEO and new DC people. It's all very
everything. Yeah.
So I feel like James Gunn and Peter Safran were put in a position where they were just like, here's the remaining projects. You guys can figure out the creative ways to get around this, but we're going to release these films, and because they're going to make us money, we've already sunk time and money into them, and that's just it. Like you can't, and you probably can't reshoot them at all to make your creative vision fit better because that's going to cost money too. Yep. Sorry, but we got to draw the line somewhere. It's going to be uncomfortable for a bit, but if we can get through it, we'll get a clean slate and we can put it behind us.
Yeah, totally.
Sorry that you have to market movies that you also sort of inherently have to admit are useless and not worth seeing. Sorry.
Yep.
Sorry, guys.
Yep. Right.
If you need me, I'll be at the Titanic's shipwreck.
Yep.
I'll be unreachable.
Yes.
Well, okay then. Well, that's Blue Beetle. So it's still in theaters. You could contribute to its underperformance.
I mean, look, dude, if you wanted to see this as a matinee, by all means do it.
Yeah.
But if you want to wait to streaming, I don't blame you.
Sure. Yeah, exactly. Unless they take it off there, which they like to do. What a mess that is, by the way.
Yeah, that's a whole nother podcast.
So, you can wait around and listen to that podcast soon within the coming weeks because things are bound to develop on that front. And we also talk about other stuff as well. So, well, it's September now. So welcome to it, everybody.
Yep.
Yay.
Here we are.
All right, everyone. Goodbye.
Goodbye.